Hi team, and welcome again to Advanced Consultation Skills. Hope you're having fun with this. It's really great. It's kind of cutting edge to how much people really like a program like ours, people with your kind of skills. We're going to talk today about culture and what we like to call a high performance culture, because culture has to do with the way people relate and their attitudes and their behaviors, their RAB, and how all the RAB, the way if it's done right, forms really good culture, which then performs great performance, because we know that the research now says a good culture creates high performance. No company is going to hire you for a good culture, which just like, well, we had kumbaya and we had the camp highs, but nobody really got anything done. No, it's got to end up in performance, because that's what organizations are about. And as you know, my model has 7 aspects to it that are very kind of like tying with the character part, and so I want to go over them because that's what we're going to be doing. And it's a good sort of a filter, a way to look at culture in any organization you are contracted with. First one is trust. Everything's got to start with trust. Individuals are committed to each other personally beyond the task level. It's not just about getting the job done. It's also, I care about you and you care about me. They operate cohesively and collaboratively, though they have very different personalities and styles. You're going to have a high energy person and a low energy person. That's fine. You can have one who's more on the introvert side and one on the extrovert side. That's fine. You can have people who are highly emotionally kind of creative and intuitive, and people who are more linear, and that's fine. That's never a problem. In fact, if a company can only hire one of those people in the team or one of those types, that's a problem. So the broader things are, the better. But they have deep affection and great chemistry for each other. And the thing about building trust as you build a good culture is it's not about the personal life, because people say, well, that means they've got to do talk about their inner secrets. No, there's professional vulnerability and there's personal vulnerability. And personal has to do with, family of origin issues and hurts and pains, and that's what the real personal growth part's about. Usually that is not appropriate in the setting in the workplace. But professional vulnerability breeds great trust. And professional vulnerability is when you talk about things in the context of work. My frustrations, my fears, my insecurities about how I'm doing the job or my relationships at the job. If you keep it between the 9 and 5, it works great. The second one after trust is autonomy. Well, autonomy is another word for freedom. And the members of the organization, they have freedom to use their talents and their ideas to innovate for the betterment of the mission of the organization. That's kind of the problem with tightly structured organizations. A lot of times people feel like they're kind of being micromanaged either by protocol, very, very rigid protocol, or by somebody over their shoulder. Sometimes that's got to happen. Like, if you're flying an airplane, you don't want to have a lot of creative time, right? Or if you're doing heart surgery. But in most organizations, your higher level people that really, really get this need to know that they can put their own stamp on things and they can have freedom to make different decisions. Higher level is more freedom, lower level is less freedom. So really value the autonomy. The third one is ownership, good old-fashioned ownership, when people feel like this is my space. You gave me this area. You gave me 4 people that are reporting to me. You gave me this budget. You gave me this mandate. You gave me these resources. And people manifest a strong sense of responsibility and pride in executing their roles with excellence if they have ownership. People that are told, well, you got to report everything to me, kind of the chain of command, they don't feel ownership. They just go, I just got to keep the boss here happy. He or she just kind of like wants to get a report from me. They don't feel like this is sort of my sandbox here that I get to play in, I get to perform in. Ownership is very important. That's why people talk about pride of ownership so much. You'll get so much more out of people when they feel like I'm being trusted to something, this is my deal. And then after that is truthfulness. Well, we know what truthfulness is because God brings us into grace and truth and all that. And it's speaking and receiving, it's that speaking and receiving of the truth is valued and appreciated by all members. In other words, you always reinforce the truth tellers. You don't reinforce the compliance and the strokers and the people that are trying to make everybody happy. You take the person that says hard truths, not disrespectful, oppositional stuff, but people that say, this isn't a popular viewpoint, but I've got a problem X, and you tell them, thank you, you're probably helping us. Thank you for that positive disruption. So you always make the truth teller, the respectful truth teller, as kind of the hero, and that builds up the culture in everybody. Then the company does better. And then facing and resolving challenges and failures. Well, offense is and defense are two different things, right? Offense is when we're going to we're going to shred it, we're going to take the market, we're going to, take the next hill, we're going to meet the vision. But if you don't have a good defense structure along with the offense structure, something's going to come and get you. There's going to be money problems, people leaving problems, market problems, competition problems, all sorts of problems. You've got to understand failure and deal with it. So a healthy culture normalizes the expression of failures and challenges. It's normal. And if nobody's bringing this stuff on a regular basis, you've got a problem. At every substantial meeting, somebody's got to say, what are the challenges? Where are we failing? Where do we need to improve? If nobody's doing it, if it's all kind of, whoop-de-doo, you got a problem here. But they actually seek it out. And they have an attitude of all reality, positive and negative, is good for the organization. So failure is something we talk about all the time. And I have had to train myself. I don't like hearing negative stuff about the things I do, but I get feedback. Development. People are provided with opportunities to hone their ongoing technical skills, their leadership skills, and relevant skills as well. Really good cultures are looking for people that they can develop, and not just kind of like, we're glad you're here and here's 2 tickets to a game. Development means, what are you interested in that helps you personally, especially what are you interested in helps you in an organization? Conferences, sending them places, trainings, getting them coaches. That's how the people stay and just operate at very high levels. And then mission orientation. It all starts with the mission, right? The DNA, the why of your organization. The individuals are excited and aligned about their mission and vision. They feel like they're part of something larger than themselves. People stick around, and very, very high-performing people stick around when they feel like they're part of an army that's doing things that has meaning and purpose. God built everybody that way. Whether it's a Christian organization or an organization that might have Christians or an organization with no Christians, God made us to feel like I'm part of a big thing. You've got to help them have that. Those are the big 7, and they make a big difference. Anyway, have fun in the course.